Okay, you guys, per request, I'm doing the old style video, Q&A part 4. If you're new to my channel, my name is Alana, and my channel is all about marriage, homemaking, healthy living, and homeschooling. And I would love for you to subscribe right now. I am cleaning up after a fun play date, picking up some Legos, and then I'm putting sheets on my beds, my children's bed, and my bed. First thing I gotta say, I had several people request old style videos, which I'm happy to do, but it's super hard because I can't think straight. I feel like scatterbrained. And so what I like about my new style is that I can sit still, think, and then deliver the message I'm trying to deliver without giving you the 20-minute runaround before I finally make the point I'm trying to make articulated in the way that I want to articulate it. It like gives me an opportunity to verbally process and then edit it out. So I am not scripting my videos. I'm just editing them, cutting out the ums and the they're not scripted, just so you know. Number 1, some days my child doesn't retain anything I've read. What do you do or can you do to promote good listening skills? A few things come to mind. Kind of talked about this in the last Q&A, making sure that when you're reading, you're making it fun for you and for the child. If it's not fun for you, the child's gonna know it. And if it's not fun for you, you shouldn't be reading it, because why on earth do you want to spend your time reading something that you're not enjoying? Read things that you both enjoy. You do not have to stick to the exact list of reading material for Ambleside. I have omitted several things: Shakespeare, Parables of Nature. This year we started doing Heroes. We read Heroes, the first 2 stories, and then I was like, you know what, this isn't necessary, and we're already reading so much good literature and it's just so long. I'm gonna drop it. Take advantage of the freedom that homeschooling provides by saying we don't want to read this and then not, it's okay. Then the other thing I would say is, maybe like if they're just having trouble listening, keep it shorter. Have them narrate. Narrating can be done at all ages. What did we just read about? Can you tell me about it? And let them tell you about it in their own words, with no questions from you, no interjections from you, just whatever they want to tell you, and you'll know how much they retained from what they narrate to you. So those are the tips I have. I'm sure there's other great advice out there, but that's what comes to mind right now. And then the second question was, what resources do I use for faith-based resources do I use? I think I go through waves. It's never the same thing all the time. Grace to You is probably the most consistent, my entire walk with the Lord. That is my go-to for everything. Right now, I've been on a Wretched Radio kick. That is what I watch all the time, every single day. He covers so many different topics, and I just think it's really wise teaching. And I love it. I love watching his street preaching, and I really like Ray Comfort's street preaching. That's super fun to watch as well. And then I also enjoy, from time to time, listening to Paul Washer and Bodie Balcom. So the next question was from a homeschool mom. She has 6 kiddos, and she's asking, how do you go to bed early, and how do you stay encouraged to homeschool? So going to bed early is overrated, okay? It's okay if you go to bed late every now and then, but I would say to make it a habit to go to bed early, because you feel more rested the next day, and you just feel more patient, more gracious, and just have a better outlook on life when you're rested, and you also look better. Take a picture of yourself when you are on little sleep, and then take a picture of yourself when you've slept well, and it is crazy, the difference. It really, really is visibly different. But that's the least of the reasons. I would say, sure, give yourself late nights sometimes. We need that time to unwind, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But, make it the norm to go to bed at a reasonable hour so you can be a good teacher and mother the next day. And one way, you said specifically, you just find yourself browsing the phone and watching stuff. Don't have your phone with you. Grab a book instead, or talk to your husband instead. Something that's not going to be the phone, and you'll probably get sleepy fast if you're not on the phone browsing Pinterest or watching YouTube videos or whatever. So it's okay to do that sometimes. I totally do. But sometimes I make it an early night. In fact, last night was an early night, 10:30. which is early for me. Usually I go to bed by 11:30, and every now and then later, but seldom after 11:30. But last night I went to bed early because my husband was asleep, and I was just sitting there in the dark, and I'm like, why am I up? Let me go to sleep and have a lot of rest tonight. And then I woke up so refreshed today. Like, I can tell the difference that 1 hour makes, you know? So yeah, practical things. Get your phone out of your room and see if that helps, but have grace on yourself. It is okay if you sleep in. That's the freedom of homeschooling, right? Somebody asked if I'm still thinking about more children, a reversal, vasectomy reversal, or adoption. No. I think when I made the video that I shared my heart with you guys about feeling guilty about our vasectomy and feeling like we needed to repent and all this stuff, I think Satan was at work in my brain. And not to say that nothing I said there I meant, and not to say that anything I said there was not sincere. It was sincere. I do question, and I still question, man, should we have been a little more slow to decide something so permanent? Maybe we should have been. Maybe we should have been a little slower, a little more prayerful, seeking more counsel. But what's done is done, and we don't feel this pressing conviction from God to do anything different. And it's not this burning desire to have more kids. And we don't think that be fruitful and multiply is a command for all peoples in all times. Think about when God gave the command to be fruitful and multiply. He gave it to Adam and Eve. They were in an empty earth. And he gave it to Noah, empty earth. Be fruitful and multiply. Does that mean that command is for everybody? I don't think so. I really don't, because what about Jesus? What about Paul? Were they fruitful and multiplied? Yet nowhere in the scriptures it says, be fruitful and multiply unless you're called to singleness. And then that command doesn't apply to you. No, I think that there is room for liberty, Christian liberty. It's not a sin to say, I want to plan my family size. I don't think you're playing God, because then you can say you're playing God for so many other things. Seriously, all planning would be playing God, and that is just not true. And so, I don't know. These are just thoughts. These are not black and white beliefs. These are not, set in stone beliefs. These are just thoughts I've had. Being around a lot of big families, Satan has a very sneaky way of getting in your head and making you think that you've done this horrible thing. Just like he gets in families' heads that have big families, you don't get any one-on-one time with your kids. Ooh, same trickery. So, like, all of my friends that have 6, 7, 8, 9 kids, I hang out with them. I love them to death. This doesn't happen so much anymore, but if I hang out too much with them, and this is what was happening to me last summer when I shared that video with you guys, I really think that you start to compare and wonder, am I wrong? Am I wrong because we only have 2 kids? That's just Satan getting in your head, feeding you lies. No, I'm not wrong. I think that just like adoption, it's a passion that God gives some people, right? Does everybody adopt? No. Should we all adopt? I don't think so. But the people that adopt probably feel that everybody should adopt because they're passionate about it. Just like the people that have 6 kids probably think everybody should have a huge family because they are passionate about it. So you have this passion. Everybody should think this way. And I'm just like, man, is that a fire from God, or is that biblical? Like, if the answer is that it is biblical, well, then this is what we need to say. Everybody should homeschool. Everybody should have a big family, as many as God will give them, and everybody should adopt. Like, that's what we need to say then. It's just that black and white? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. So, be fruitful and multiply. Is it a command for all peoples at all times? I don't think that you can include singleness in that. So I feel like no. It just doesn't line up scripturally. So I think that it was a command for the people that were in an empty world that needed to fill the earth, And the rest is Christian liberty. We are free in Christ. Oh my goodness, we are free in Christ. So that's my thoughts. I don't have an answer on my beliefs, but those are my thoughts. And my answer to, are we still thinking about more children, is no. Or vasectomy reversal, no. And adoption, we never have been thinking about adoption. How would you feel about only homeschooling one child? This person feels bad about the idea of only homeschooling one child. My first thought is, why do you want to homeschool? Revisit that first and foremost. Why do you want to homeschool? The reason we homeschool is because we want to be full-time parents. We want to be the shapers of our children's minds and worldview, to teach them godly character on a day-to-day basis, all day, every day, living out Deuteronomy 6:6-7, all day, every day. That's why we want to homeschool. So that's not to say that yours has to be exactly that. Like, that's how I feel. So whether I have 1 or 20, I'm homeschooling, you know? So I would just revisit, why do you want to homeschool? And then go from there. How do I deal with negative responses from family about homeschooling? I honestly just don't care, because I don't care. It's never like an in-your-face. It's always like a passive-aggressive response, you know, or a comment. Like, what are they going to do to socialize, you know? Are they in the level they should be in? It's like, who said there was a level? Oh, I'm sorry. We homeschool. We don't believe in levels. We just teach our children according to what they know and what they're capable of and go from there. They're not raising our children. We are. They're not shaping our children's characters. We are. They're not giving up their life to raise these children. We are. And so we'll decide how we're going to do that. And we just feel extremely strongly, us, that God gave us children to be the primary influence in their life, and we don't want to hand them over for anyone else. We want to be the ones to shape their minds and their character and develop things that matter their whole life. I want my children to have integrity and be honorable young men that are truthful and hard workers and diligent to do what they say and be men of their word and character. That's all I'll cover for this video, because I'm gonna go over my 15 minutes and it's time to work out. Hope you enjoyed the old style video. I hope it wasn't too much movement for you. I was able to pull it off. Have an awesome day and please subscribe.